Hey guys, welcome to another quick episode of It's About Time. We're in a sauna right now in Atlantic City, New Jersey at the Borgata, and I don't know how long my phone's got. So, we're going to make this a nice quick episode. You know, everybody knows me, Drew. Jared's not here as usual right now, but we'll get him back on the show very quickly. And this is our watchmaker, Nishan.
Hello.
Hello. Today we're going to talk about, we're going to forego what's on the wrist because we're not going to bring watches into a sauna. That's just stupid. Now, today's topic. Let's get into this shit. It's going to be watch corrosion, especially dial corrosion. And there's 3 different types of dial corrosion, as you can see from picture number 1. Nisha, I want you to tell everybody exactly what we're looking at in picture number 1 right now.
So picture number 1, what we're looking at is a little bit of corrosion coming through from moisture. Those little white spots on the dial are an indication that moisture has gotten in and it's beginning to corrode the copper that the face is actually made out of. So that's the early stages. There may be some damage to the movement or to the mechanism, depending on if it's manual, automatic, or battery.
Absolutely. And if you don't get that checked, what ends up happening over time is it becomes image number 2. What do we see here, Nisha?
So image number 2 is extreme corrosion. Somebody might look at this and say, well, maybe it's from, the fact that it's a vintage watch and it's been out in the open for a while, UV rays or something to that effect. That's actually not the case. You would see some discoloration, but it would be even across the watch. What we're seeing here is that one part of the watch, probably the part that's closer to the crown, is experiencing a much heavier amount of corrosion than the rest of the faces. And that's something to keep an eye on. It's not just the case back where the first gasket is that can cause a leak. It actually also can be due to the crown, which also has a gasket, and it's more likely to break given the fact that it's typically smaller.
Absolutely. And if you want to see what it looks like, okay, if you have, especially if you have a quartz watch, what happens a lot of times is if you don't check the seals and water starts getting in and the moisture, what happens is you get corrosion from the back. And this is a perfect example of that. So Nishan, explain exactly what's going on in this picture.
So your battery is really going to be the conductor of all your corrosion, and then it'll eventually spread from there. Because there's an electric charge, and the water is going to want to go to that electric charge because it's a good conductor of electricity. So when the moisture gets in, it'll start pulling around the battery, and the battery will begin to corrode, and you'll actually begin to see some of that corrosion in the form of like a white fuzz. And then from there, it'll spread to the rest of the circuit, and once that's happened, you basically need a new movement, because there's no reason to just change the circuit at that point. So be sure that whenever you're getting a battery changed, or whenever you're getting your watch serviced, so manual or automatic, ask them to check both gaskets to make sure that everything is okay, because if you only focus on the case back, you may allow the crown to go unnoticed and over the course of many years create serious damage to your watch.
Absolutely. And this is the perfect examples of, again, early watch corrosion, advanced watch corrosion, and what it looks like from the back. Okay, so please get your watch checked both on the seal by the crown and both on the seal on the back, as you can see here, as that you want to make sure your watches are water resistant. Jared and I always have the rule of at least 5 ATM. Some Swiss movements, the 3 ATM does work because Swiss are held to a higher standard when it comes to water resistant than Japanese or Chinese movements. But our standard thing is 5 ATM because you don't want to have this happen where you have, especially, I know I bought an Omega a very short time ago. I had to return it because you did have examples of watch corrosion both on the dial and on the hands and on the ticker. It can't happen anywhere on the watch, and oxidation does happen. And this is just something easy to check so you don't have to have any unnecessary repairs happen in the future.
One last thing. Depending on the environment you live in, you're going to want to have it checked more frequently. If you live in a place like New Jersey where it's more humid, you're going to want to have it checked more frequently because through the seasons, there's more expanding and contracting of the gasket. Whereas if you live in an environment like Arizona, which is very arid with minimal humidity, then you won't see that happen as much. So be sure to get it checked more frequently or less frequently depending on where you live. Also, if you're planning to travel to an arid environment or a humid environment from the opposite environment, you're going to want to get it checked before and after as well, because that extreme change in environments could cause the gaskets to swell and break whether you are cognizant of it or not in the short run.
Exactly. What happens, especially in environments like the sauna we're currently in, which I'm currently losing my mind as we speak, is the heat. What it does to the gasket is it takes that rubber gasket and it makes it brittle. okay, because it dries it out real quickly. And then when you subject it to moisture again, all of a sudden you're going to have gaps where water flows in and causes this type of corrosion. So you definitely want to have it checked they always say every couple of years, especially if it's in extreme environments. If you're in regular environments, you can probably go longer until you see something. But usually when you're in the desert or you're in extreme, like Seattle where it's very moisture prone, you're going to have to get these things checked, even diver's watches. Because even though the seals are thicker, you're still going to have that same problem. The issue does occur no matter how thick or thin the actual seal is.
Correct.
So guys, again, thanks for joining us here in Atlantic City. I thank Borgata for hosting us today and freaking smoking us dry in this thing. And, you know, we'll have Jared on next episode. Man, I'm sweating like balls. And we're going to have plenty of other episodes for you during the year, including trips to Bermuda, the Caribbean, and LBI. So keep your tweets, messages, Facebook, ideas coming, and we'll keep pumping these suckers out as they come in. Thanks, guys, and thank you from all of us here, from me and Nishan. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you on another episode of It's About Time.